Hey everyone, today on the Mother Agents, we have Jan Hall from Union Management, New York City. Hey everyone, it's Greg Chan from the Mother Agents, and welcome to 15 Minutes with the Mother Agent. And today we have Jan Hall of Union Management in New York City. Jan, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Awesome, great to have you. So let's just get started. And why don't you introduce yourself and tell me a little bit about your company, where you're based, your values, your vision, anything.
Oh, wow. There's a lot to share. I actually grew up sort of in the industry when I was scouted at 15 years old. I didn't model or anything until I was like 17, but learned at that point that my career was what it was because I had some great people behind me. Um, Later on in my career, I started working in casting and production and started realizing that so many of the models that were coming in maybe weren't as prepared as I would have liked to see them at a casting. And then when you talk to them a little bit about their experience, it seemed like in some cases there wasn't a ton of development. I think we all get really excited about getting models out there and everything else, but sometimes you need to make sure the model's in the right place, both physically and emotionally, before you throw them out to the fire. So I wanted to create sort of an agency that did that. And after scouting models for other agencies for so long, I was like, why am I not just doing this myself?
Mhm.
So Union was born. We are based in New York City. We represent probably about 30 models around the world, most of which are obviously in the United States, but we work with models in other countries as well. And yeah, it's been a wild ride. Currently in California, so my kids that are based in California, we're all going to meet up while I'm here to do some shooting and some development stuff. But it's been a really great experience thus far.
Fantastic. Thank you. And why don't you tell me a little bit about how you started your company, how you decided to start your company, any key places you've worked in the past to add to that experience.
Yeah, so originally I was shooting and I didn't have access to models to shoot. I wasn't linked in with the agencies. I'd worked with agencies a long time ago as a model myself and in production, but I hadn't done that in years and not in New York. So I started just scouting models on my own. Um, then I'd post the photos, and mother agents and other agencies would reach out to me and they'd be like, "Where'd you find this kid?" And I'd be like, "Oh, well, I was just on the subway or just walking downtown or whatever else." Um, and so it became clear that I kind of had an eye for what agents were looking for right now and what for clients were looking for right now. But I wasn't quite ready to be an agent myself. It wasn't until I started scouting more actively for a single agency and then got pulled into another agency to work with them, uh, and did a lot of the scouting and development there. And I was like, you know what? I kind of really like this. Initially, I was like, I don't want to be responsible for the well being of like all these kids. Um, and now I realize that it sort of takes me back to my camp counselor days where I was like, you're not just working to make somebody a better model, you're trying to make them a better person because if they're a better person, they'll be a better model. So I really wanted to create sort of a space where models didn't just come to me with modeling questions, but came to me about like, how can I be, how can I gain confidence in this area of my life, or what can I be doing here? Um, and that's kind of where it came from. I saw a lot of models say that they couldn't reach out to their agency, or they felt when they reached out to their agents, they you know, weren't necessarily getting the time of day just because the agents were busy. They're trying to book the models. They're not trying to necessarily act as, you know, uh, I guess camp counselors per se or whatnot. So I wanted to create an agency that felt sort of very community minded and sort of like a family. So I do like it when my models connect with each other and with other models and they talk shop. It all
Sure.
just sort of brings up everyone together. Um, but yeah, that's kind of where it all started. So it officially started in 2021. However, I started scouting models back in 2010 and then started working with agencies in 2017. So it's been a long process to here.
Fantastic. That's great. Thank you. And what gender models do you represent?
All. anything that I, if somebody's cool, I'm not too concerned with gender whatsoever.
Fantastic. That's amazing. Let's see. And tell me about some of the agencies that you work with, that you have models signed with throughout the world.
Wow. Okay. So I guess in New York, it's funny because obviously it was my experience as a casting director. I was able to build relationships with particular agents that I had known throughout that time. So I've got models currently at Society, at One. I've got models at Maryland, Crawford. I've got models at, oh my gosh, now I'm on the spot because I have to think of where all the kids are at. Um, why can't I think of this right now? This is so funny. These are the things that I should have written down before I came on. But uh, I do have, oh, Fusion. I don't know why this is not coming more smoothly off, but so that's in New York City, and I do work with some agencies in LA, in Europe, obviously, and now working on getting some relationships sorted out in some of the real key development areas like Mexico City, parts of Greece, Turkey, South Africa, where kids can really go and get some great tear sheets or get some great experience so they can work better and more confidently in some of the bigger markets. Um, I know that sometimes the kids get really excited. They want to go to Paris immediately, but Paris is usually one of the last markets I want to put a model in because I think you have to have a really thick skin, a great deal of confidence, and a real sense of self before you can really succeed in a market like that.
Great, great. And tell me about, I don't know, some of your exciting jobs your models have done.
Well, I've got a model right now in Las Vegas shooting with Ethan James Green, cast by DM Casting, uh, for an upcoming editorial. That model also just shot another great editorial here in New York City. So excited for him. What other jobs? Calvin Klein campaign that's currently out now, which is pretty exciting. Aeropostale holiday campaign, which is currently out right now. Uh, I've got another model who I can't really say too much about, but an upcoming campaign that it required an NDA. So I'm excited about that. Beyond that, love launching kids during Fashion Week. I think it's a really wonderful opportunity to get kids really sort of excited about the industry because you're meeting so many models of casting, you're meeting some of the key folks. So I love seeing the kids do their thing during Fashion Week. One of the kids most recently launched at Marnie, which was a great show, a great first show to do. And also he was just beside the moon because this is a kid from like Indiana who never thought about modeling and now is walking underneath the Manhattan Bridge, or was it the Manhattan Bridge? One of the giant bridges in New York City to launch their career, which is really cool. Beyond that, I've got models that are just doing simple things like sort of weekly e-com gigs, which are some of the great ways to sort of build a lot of confidence on set and also just to get a lot of sort of easy income. It's not nearly as sexy as sort of the big campaigns and everything else, but it's a great way to develop a career simply because you've got a regular client that's asking you to come back and everything else. And that's what I tell the models. I said, your goal isn't to book one job once, it's to book a job and then develop a relationship with that casting director or client so that you are coming back every single week or every single month or every single season to work with them.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Thank you. And Jan, what do you look for in a model?
That is a great question. You asked about gender. I truly believe that this industry has come a long way in the last 15 years, but there's still a lot of progress that needs to be done. I understand the industry from a unique perspective because I came from the corporate fashion world. And so I understand, the selling cycles, the production cycles, and all those things. And there are limitations that do exist. However, models should come from every aspect of the world and spectrum. So when I'm looking for a model, I'm not as worried about like size or look or anything else. To me, if someone's cool, they're cool. So I'm really usually looking for models that have something interesting to offer. I think back in the day, clients weren't nearly as interested with what made a model who they are, but I think social media has shifted the conversation. And now you don't need to have a giant following, but you need to be doing something interesting. So whether you're an artist or a musician, maybe you're a polyglot and you speak 6 languages, maybe you're an athlete, something to help you stand out. So when you walk into a casting, you have something that sets you apart from every other model in that room. Love a model with a natural sense of style, simply because they tend to have a certain, I guess, sense of adventure when it comes to getting dressed, and they have a lot of fun on shoots because they're doing things they may have not thought of doing before, but they already love fashion. So I really like that. But I also love models that are, kind of not even super excited to be a model. They're just sort of like, I'm here to do my job. Like, what do you want me to do? Let's do this.
Mhm.
Ultimately, I want to find models that are just solid, good people. I think that there's a lot of negativity in the industry, and I feel like if we create uh, or if we build an industry and we build an agency, and we build sort of a sort of more positive minded, open industry, I think we're all in a better place. So definitely looking for kids without egos. I think it's really easy to sort of get caught up with like, oh, I do really well on Instagram or TikTok, so clearly I'm going to blow up. And those kids are great, but you also want them to know that this is a different world, and it's okay to sort of step back and be like, all right, I'm just kind of getting started, and I'm not I guess the best way to put it is like, no attitude, easy kids that want to learn and are eager and are professional and just solid human beings.
Yeah. Well, clients want a blank canvas. They want to be able to create off just who you are as you.
Yeah. And if a model spends too much time being like, well, this is my brand and this is my
Mhm.
identity, it's going to be really hard to find that one client that wants the model just as they are.
Yeah.
You look at the top models working, and they're absolute chameleons, and they're almost actors. They're able to take on all these different roles and play these different vibes. And I find that to be incredibly fascinating, because acting, at least you have words to use. As a model, you're using your expressions and movements
Mhm.
to sort of convey a story. So yeah, I agree. That sort of blank canvas is always great.
And what would you say your percentage of street scouting is versus online scouting?
Pre-pandemic, I was doing a lot more in-person scouting. I love scouting in person, simply because you have a chance to take somebody who is not, they're like, what? When you scout somebody online, they have this opportunity to be like, well, I don't know. This could be a catfish or whatever else. When you meet somebody in person, you hand them your card. It's a little more like, okay, we mean business. That said, pre-pandemic, I would say 80% in person, 20% online. And now it's more like 50-50. Um, I really can't go anywhere without having that sort of scouting eye on. So I'll be at Target, and if I see the cashier has a cool look, I'll be like, hey, have you ever thought about modeling? Um, my friends always laugh at me because they're like, you're always working. And you just never know when you might not, you might find the next, great model out there. So
That's right.
definitely love scouting in person and online.
That's right. Absolutely. Um, what advice do you have for like a young kid that's just starting out that really wants to get going modeling?
I think one of the things to really do is just do your homework. I think a lot of times models are like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this. And I'm like, well, do you know what types of models, or what kind of
Hmm.
models are being booked for those jobs? Don't focus on a brand just because you think it's a cool brand. Identify the brands that are going to be best suited for you. Because I think what happens is models think, oh, well, I need to do runway and high fashion, when that might not be the best avenue for you. You might be best suited for like commercial work or e-com, and you could kill it there. And so to be really open to the types of jobs that are out there by just kind of doing your homework and understanding where you might fit in best. The other piece is to never compare yourself to other models.
Hmm.
It's probably one of the most detrimental things anybody can do.
Hmm.
I think it's really easy for us to be like, oh, well, I'm tall and thin and they did this job, so why am I not doing this job? When it really has nothing to do with that. A lot of models just need patience, realizing that their time will come. Others just need to recognize that just because they didn't book that one job doesn't mean that they're not valuable or that they're not a great model. It just wasn't a good fit at that time. So just, I think, patience, not comparing yourself to others, and just doing your homework.
Yeah, great. I think it's great advice. Um, Jan, what's most important to you as a mother agent?
I want the models that I work with to exit our working relationship as better people than when they entered it. That's really my goal. I am, it's funny. I'm not going to have kids of my own. I have no interest. It's a lot of work. I admire mothers and fathers everywhere out that world. As a mother agent, I get to do the thing that like grandparents and aunties and uncles get to do, which is like work with the kids, but then, they've got their own space. But I really want to make sure that every kid that I work with, not just a better model. I just want people to gain confidence and trust in themselves and not just gain opportunities with, in modeling, but maybe other aspects of the industry. So a lot of the models I work with, become photographers or end up being PAs on shoots or get interested in becoming a makeup artist or a casting director. So any of those opportunities that we can create, definitely keen on.
Amazing, fantastic. Great. Well, listen, we have one more question.
Okay.
And the question is a mystery question.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So we have our hat full of mystery questions here.
All right, I grabbed one.
The mystery questions are really fun. It's anywhere from like challenging the knowledge of our mother agents to what would you do in this situation to maybe just your opinion. So
Okay.
let's see what your mystery question today is. It is. Okay, all right. So let me prepare this.
Okay.
So your mystery question is, pronounce this word.
Okay, this is really funny because I was like drought, but then I was like, wait, that's not drought, that's draught. I'm gonna say draught.
The correct pronunciation of this word is draft.
Draft. Oh, okay, yes. Okay. I can see, this is funny you do this because I'm sitting in my dad's office and he and his father were both so keen on trying to come up with these like riddles or whatnot. And I just remember they'd both go to their office into these file cabinets, pull out like sheets of paper and be like, can you figure this out? And one of the things they often did was like, how do you spell this word? Or what is this word? And that kind of reminded me of that. So draft, is that?
Pronounced draft, yes, correct.
And
So
what is the definition of that version of draft?
I have no idea. I think, yeah, I'm not sure.
I mean, I don't know why I thought it was drought initially. Then I was like, that's not the word drought. That's spelled differently. But yeah, draft. I'm trying to remember. I remember one time my grandfather held up this piece of paper and said, what was this word? And it was like PHOE, something, something, something. And it was fish. So it was right, kind of the same thing you just did there is something I grew up with and I should have done better. I should have known.
Well, there's always next time. And, I'm thinking maybe we might have to go rummaging through your dad and your grandfather's cupboard for some more mystery questions.
Oh my gosh, it's like a trove. I've spent the last couple of weeks in here just digging through and I'm finding so many different things. It's been amazing.
Fantastic. Well, listen, Jan, thank you very much for being here. We're really proud to have you on the Mother Agents website. And, thank you for being here to help us get to know who you are, not only as a brand, but also a person. So we're thrilled to have you. And, we're really pleased that you're with us on the site.
Thank you. And of course, excited and very happy for the work you're doing as well. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Jan. Take care. Bye.
Have a great one. Bye-bye.